Hello, this is Jason with Overland America, and here we are on another adventure. It's the Appalachian Trail Stairway to Heaven walk. And if you want to see how we get to here and look at it where this very unusual wooden walk that goes on for miles ends up, you want to stay tuned because you don't want to miss any minute of this exciting episode. So we're on the road again. Here we are heading out to another adventure, and we're bringing you along for the ride. As we cruise up to the Appalachian Trails, the Stairway to Heaven, this is located in New Jersey. Believe it or not, I was also surprised because I always thought the Appalachian Trail was in Pennsylvania. So it was up in Pennsylvania and ran up through that way. But I guess we all learn something new every day. So, we came here and decided to take a walk. And the first thing we noticed was this very unusual sidewalk. It runs through the entire area, and it crosses a suspension kind of bridge, a wooden bridge that you walk across. And then on the other side, there's an incline, and it goes up to what they call the Stairway to Heaven. And believe it or not, that's actually what it's called. As you can see when we look around, it's still winter time. There's a little snow on the ground, but not too much. But nothing's really greened up yet. There's a lot of, straw and hay and tall things like that. And believe it or not, looking at this, I don't think that this was a wet like all the time. There was quite a bit of water, and I think that's why they ended up building this built up walk that we were on, which was really cool. It was kind of narrow, so when you passed other people on the walk or come in the other direction, you guys kind of had to move to the side and kind of squeeze past each other. It was only probably about, I don't know, if I had to guess, I'd say 3 feet wide. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. A lot of people had dogs and stuff, and we passed a few people. But for the most part, we had our own little section here of the Stairway to Heaven. As you can see, there were some benches and things sitting around where you could take a break and sit down. And then this was the water that was located all underneath the walkway. Like I said, it doesn't look like that it was all the time. I think this is a wetland, and with all the snow that we had this year, and the runoff from the mountains up above, it all came down to here. I'm sure that there was some kind of creek here, and I'm sure that there's a couple of small ponds here, but I don't think it's this wet year round. You could tell because when you look in the water, you could see to the bottom of it, and you see grass and things like that which would not normally grow underneath the water. But anyway, it was very interesting, and there was, as you can see, there was a couple of wooden bridges. This was just the first one, which was just a lower bridge, which, we had quite a bit of fun. It was pretty interesting walking across and looking around. And we enjoyed it profusely as we made our way through the Stairway of Heaven, Appalachian Trail, to see where it leads. And with our quest for an adventure, this sufficed for this day. We try to do these daily adventures until the weather warms up enough where we can get the rig out and the trailer out and do some overlanding and things like that. Right now with the COVID and everything else, it's a little difficult to do that. Not to mention it's been a very harsh winter and very cold here. So it's not applicable for sleeping outside right now. But hopefully in the next few weeks or even a month, that'll change and we can go. This right here, as you can see, is the actual suspension bridge that I was talking about earlier. This thing here, if you can't really tell it right now, but it was very, very windy this day, and this bridge was swinging right and left with the wind. It was kind of an uneery and not as comfortable feeling as I could have been, I would imagine. Sudan was, I made Sudan walk this bridge a couple times because I was trying to get a good shot, and she was a trooper and did it pretty well. As you can see, it was pretty well high up, and like you see, it was like what you had to wait for. If one person was walking across it, you kind of had to wait for the next person to come across before you could get across it.
Just say yes, choose to do whatever comes next. Just be brave and come along. I wanna do it all, this or that. Getting drunk on whiskey on a Tuesday night, or drinking red wine by an open fire. Make
Dude, this right here has got to be one of my most favorite scenes of the whole adventure. I mean, just look at the colors here. The colors are just popping, and the clouds overhead are just beautiful. The sun didn't always cooperate with us this whole trip. I mean, as you can see, sometimes it was out, and when it was out, it made these light-colored things pop. It made it really bright. But that particular picture was just the perfect, sun, and it just made everything just look really well. This is a shot showing you here, all the flooded areas that are underneath the wooden walkway that we were walking on. This was very interesting. You definitely couldn't jump off the walkway and take some pictures. I mean, there were certain spots that you could, but for the most part, it was pretty much wet down there. There were a few spots where the walkway stopped and you had to cross over and walk in some dirt a little bit, and then back onto the crossway. But for the most part, this wooden walkway took us all the way to the end, across the bridge as you saw, and then to the end where the climb was to go to the Stairway to Heaven, which we didn't do, by the way, because at the end of this trip, by the time we got to the end and the wind really, really picked up, I think they said it was like 50 to 60 miles an hour. And then, believe it or not, it started to snow. So we were already like an hour and a half or 2 hours into this adventure. So we figured we should start heading back towards the Jeep. So we started hiking back out at that point, and heading back to where we had parked at, which was out on the main street, because as far as I could tell, this particular place, the Appalachian Trail Stairway to Heaven, didn't have a parking lot per se, but they did have some pretty decent street parking there that you could just pull off in the dirt and stay there, park your car as you would go and explore this beautiful and wonderful place in New Jersey. I mean, I say if you really would like to get out and see this place, I mean, this is something new that I didn't even know existed, and we just happened to run across it. If you think this would be someplace that you would like to go and like to see, please leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. And if you've ever been here before in the summertime, let us know if that water is always there, or does it go away like in the summertime during the hotter parts of the seasons. I'd be really curious to know, and let us know.
Even in my wildest dreams. Oh yeah. Even in my wildest dreams, I didn't think we were destined to be. And now you're laying next to me. Everything feels like, oh yeah.
This is the part, like I was explaining a little bit earlier, where you actually go off the wooden path and onto a little dirt path. These things here, these little sections were far and few between. There were about 2 or 3 of them. over the whole trail that we walked, and that was a few, like I believe it was like 3 or 4 miles, but don't quote me on it. This right here was just, I guess the ground was pretty dry, so they didn't have to build this because it was the elevation was up. But as you get down here to the end, you get right back onto the wooden platform. And then you kind of go into this where the main river's at, this is the river that you just saw a second ago. I believe that is the main river, and I think it's just overflowed its banks and some of its contributaries, and that's what had flooded that wasteland down there. And it must flood like on a regular basis, because that would be the only reason I could think that they would build that raised platform walkway, for miles. That must have been expensive and very, very time consuming. This right here is also one of my most favorite pictures of Sudan standing there. Look at those clouds. I mean, it looks amazing. This right here is a wonderful shot. What the clouds is what I was trying to catch is, it was very windy. The clouds were very puffy, but that shot was just really, really good. The clouds were awesome. So this picture is my favorite. And as Leo, he walked all the way with us. Him too. We need to stop and have a little drink, so he can continue on his adventure. And we can keep on going and see if we can make it to the end here, to the Stairway to Heaven climb. Keep watching and let's see what happens.
Radio. Tommy's got brand new drums, and I still have my old guitar. And John said this next song's gonna be real good, if you know what I mean. Round and round the world we'll go, putting on the greatest show. So make sure that you don't miss out, just be there. We're taking our shot, bring what you got. We're going all the way to the top. We will hear the sound of 1 million people screaming our names when we're backstage. We're playing loud, surfing the crowd. Everybody's jumping around. Yeah, that's the place where I wanna be. Going on stage headline on a Saturday.
So now we finally come to the end of our journey. We're actually almost back to where we started and getting ready to head home. As Sudan waves goodbye and she walks by, I'd like to tell you, please, if you like these videos, like, subscribe, and share so we can continue making them. And again, we'll see you on the next trip.